Hiya! I'm sure if you click this video, you really like glass animals, like I do. A couple of years ago, my friend introduced me to their music with the song Gooey, and I instantly fell in love with its sweet and soothing melodies. So, you can imagine how stoked I was when in August of 2020, Glass Animals released their newest album, Dreamland. I know I'm a little late to the party, but I wanted to do a tier list of each of the songs in the Dreamland album. I decided to exclude the interludes, or home movies as they're called. While they're very adorable, I'm not including them because they're transitions. They simply add to the experience when you listen to the album in its entirety. I'd listened to the songs in order and rated them one by one with the classic F through S tier list while recording the whole thing. After watching the recording, I realized I'm not the best at forming my thoughts while I listen to music, so I decided to write down some notes for each of the songs after listening to them instead. Also, this is purely my opinion, and I rated the songs based on how they compare to each other and my own personal tastes. Also, for copyright reasons, you won't hear any of the songs unless I want to emphasize a clip from one. Anyways, it's jam time! First up, Dreamland. This song has the dreamlike quality I was expecting the entire album to have, and it prepares you to step into a world of memories and nostalgia. The lyrics give meaning to what each song represents in the album, although you have to do some digging to find out which lines match up with each song. I decided Dreamland should be a C rating because it feels a little too soft for the rest of the album. The mention of 2020 at the very end of the song also brings me out of that Dreamland experience, since it brings up the present, when we're supposed to be focused on memories. Moving on to the next song, Tangerine. This one is about that special someone in the narrator's life losing their appeal and drying up like an old tangerine right before their eyes. However, the narrator remembers the good times they had together and doesn't want them to drift apart. For many fans, like myself, this is a callback to Season 2, Episode 3, a song with a similar relationship dynamic. Tangerine has a very poppy tune, one that you can get up and dance to, and a very catchy chorus. I'm surprised this one didn't become one of the bigger songs. Anyways, it gets a solid B for me. It's great, and while it's a jam, it feels a little out of place for being right after the dreamy song just before it. Hot Sugar follows up Tangerine, and I just gotta say, I really love Dave's voice in this one. It's smooth and gentle, and I think it might have flowed better if it was right after Dreamland. The spaceship sound effect at the very beginning is pretty cool too, and the beat that follows it is slightly sweet and very chill. However, the lyrics are a little lacking, as in, Dave just sings random words like bath time Cool Whip and swimming pool spaceship. He must really like to swim, but I believe his point was that he wanted the listener to think of a really cool person that they admire, but wouldn't actually want to be around, given the words. I don't wanna be around you, just wanna be like you. For the rating, I'm gonna give it an A. Good tune, nice voice, but a little lacking in lyrics. If you were looking for the blast in the past part of this nostalgic album, then look no further than the next title, Space Ghost Coast to Coast. While this song reminds 90s kids of an old cartoon superhero, this song is actually one of the heavier ones, talking about gender norms and about Dave's experience with learning about a friend from school who tried to commit a school shooting. I'll admit it's not my favorite, but the rapping was done well, and the lyrics talk about topics that should be discussed more. I gave it a C. To follow up the rap trail, the next song is Tokyo Driftin'. This one gives the feeling that you should blast it while driving down the highway at 190 miles per hour at 3 a.m. on a Friday night. Please don't actually do that, follow all road laws, but, it's at least fun to imagine. I put it on S tier just for its catchiness and upbeat beat. Bringing us back into mellow and rather fruity territory, Melon the Coconut talks about a relationship that is about to break. While the tone is much more somber than the previous song, the imagery of a coconut and a melon being in a relationship is rather silly, and so is a coconut wearing Air Force Ones. Also, the interlude between when Melly speaks and when Coco speaks is funky. Unfortunately, I think the placement of this song right after Tokyo Driftin' made it less enjoyable. Standing on its own makes it better, and the lyrics are some of the more creative ones in the album. However, I still rated it a C, mostly due to placement. Next up, Your Love. This one I really enjoy, although it brings up a rather toxic on and off again relationship dynamic. I don't have a lot to say about this one other than it sounds rather pleasant to the ears, both lyrically and instrumentally wise. This one is great, even outside the album. A solid A for me. When I first heard waterfalls coming out of your mouth, I had to pause it because I just laughed out loud at the line. Because it was so unexpected. But I'm assuming this song is about the narrator meeting an oh so cool but rather mysterious personality that is yet to open up to them. It's a banger, with 3 very memorable lines I can't help but yell out every time I hear them. The rest of the lyrics, though, are a little lacking for me, but the tune is awesome, and I just had to rate it an S tier for being my favorite in the album. The next one up is ISIL, or It's Also Incredibly Loud. This one starts out incredibly quiet, but builds up rather slowly to a fantastic and loud ending. The vocals aren't my favorite in this one, but Dave still does a good job with expressing the emotion of, oh heck, I said it bad. To put it into more elegant terms, the song is about those 4 small seconds in between yelling at someone and the realization of the impact of those words hitting both of you. The song feels a little too long to express this feeling, but I think he did this to show the agonizing wait between when the words leave your mouth and when it hits. For this reason, I gave it a B. This next song is going to be a very short review, but I rated Domestic Bliss a B. I cannot listen to it without bursting into tears. It talks about a child noticing his parent is in an abusive relationship. Please, if you're in a bad situation or relationship, you deserve to leave, and there are plenty of places and people that want and will help you get out. To move on to less depressing topics, the next song is the most popular song of the album, which I believe has some controversy around it because it has the name of an also popular Dream and George Not Found fanfiction, Heat Waves. It's not a bad song, and I can see why it's popular, however, I rated it a C. It doesn't do it for me, and I've heard it everywhere, and I'm a little sick of hearing it at this point. It came out in the summer of 2020 before the album dropped, right in the middle of the pandemic, when people needed some hope that things were going to be okay. However, the song is about another breakup, so I'm not exactly sure how that would give people hope. Last, but definitely not least, we have Helium. I think this song should have been split in 2. The first part being Helium and the second being Dreamland Part 2, or another home movie to wrap up the album. Regardless of this, I rated the first part an A because the lyrics sound nice, and so does the tune, which I believe is just the Dreamland tune, but reversed. It's a good ending to the album, and it brings me back to the nostalgic feeling that Dreamland gave at the beginning. The second part, though, doesn't really fit with the song, and it should have been on its own. So, now that I've shared my opinion, what do you think? What would you rate each song on the Dreamland album? Feel free to comment below. I'd love to hear your opinion on the album too. I'm no musical expert, but I love listening to new music and rating it, so if you have any suggestions of what I should listen to next, be sure to let me know of those as well. That's all for today. See you next week! This one is about that special someone in the narrator's Why is it so hard to say narrator? Anyways, it gets a solid B for me. It's great and fuck. It's great and fuck. As in, Dave really just sings random words like bath time, Cool Whip, and swimming pool spaceship. Let me try that again. If you were looking for the blast in the past part of this nostalgic album, then look no further than... If you were looking for the blast in the past part of this nostalgic album, then look no further than Yes. This one gives the feeling that you should blast it while driving down the highway at 190 miles per hour at 3 a.m. on a Friday night, not Sunday night. Whoopsies. I put it on S tier just for its catchiness and upbeat beat. I know that doesn't make any sense, but whatever. I put it on S cheer. Yes, we're cheerleading now. Woo! I I'm British. It's so weird. Why was that a thing? Anyways.